On October the 7th, you tweeted, "Give them hell, Netanyahu, enough is enough," and you got some blowback for that, as everybody
a lot.
says anything about this. Were you surprised by the scale of the blowback? Do you wish you'd phrased that tweet differently? Do you have any regrets about it?
Well, and really, it would have been better had because I did release a YouTube video where I explained some of what we already talked about, and that was received much better, but it also gave me a chance to elaborate my argument. And so what it highlighted for me, and I felt, I was very taken aback by what happened in Israel. As I said, the Abraham Accords could have been extended earlier, and maybe this wouldn't have been necessary. And that wasn't as good as providing the context. Now, I was upset because I had developed somewhat of a Muslim following on YouTube. A lot of people on the Islamic side of the world were watching my biblical lectures, for example. It would have been better to do the long form, to have done the long form to begin with, And Twitter invites and rewards a certain amount of impulsivity.
There's no doubt, for example, that what happened on October the 7th was a form of hell for the victims and for their families. Again, this comes back to this moral quandary I have. It was interesting when you said enough is enough in that tweet. In other words, that the revenge is already far greater in terms of death toll than the original appalling terror attacks.
Well, the question is, I suppose, and I don't purport to have an answer to this, is the most effective way of combating Hamas military.
Yeah.
And so even if they could take out Hamas militarily, which isn't obvious given its interpenetration with the civilian population, all of what's going to be played out is going to be played out on the military front. And we can see that in the rising tide, let's say, of demonstrations around the Western world. And so then I would think, well, is there another way of restraining Hamas